Okay.
All right, so welcome guys to episode 3 of the Salt Mines, featuring NZA, Gallo, and now we have Junebug also here. So we have some regional taste, some regional love here. If you guys haven't tuned in recently, there's some decent news going out there. Everything can be found on YouTube, and also now we are officially on iTunes. So you can find us for your phone and your mobile if you want to walk around, run around, things like that. And without further ado, let's open up with intros. Gallo, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Messi?
Doing all right. NZA?
Good.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
All right.
It's nice to be here. Thanks for
Hey.
having me.
No problem, man. It was a pleasure. And June.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, pleasure to be here. Hope to get some good discussion going.
Wrap around Dad's Junebug. You look very comfortable.
I do.
So,
Nice.
some big news that happened recently here in New York City is Gallo, one of my favorite people, actually kind of, and I hope this is not a too strong a word, but you kind of mollywopped Professor Pro in grand finals, and
Molly.
no one has video evidence except for like a 1998 Nokia cell phone. You want to go over like what happened over there?
Sure. All right, so we had a 20-man local that we were lucky enough to have Professor Pro show up to since he's in New York. And it was a lot of competition because New York is really, it's like got really good competition, but we have like no competitors. So we have Vans, DJ, Frozen, Malachi, Dark Blues, Eli, Guru Kid, all these good players, and we end up with these like small tournaments. So it was a really tough tournament for me, and I somehow beat Professor Pro. I think I was playing really good, and I don't think he was playing, at his peak, to be honest.
So
But
humble, bro.
I managed to pull it out. And I got $60 for beating Professor Pro.
Oh,
Thanks, New York.
I mean, that's one of the things that we've covered before too, is the fact that New York has such really great talent, and we're, as New Yorkers, we're naturally lazy, and we don't like doing things. And I remember reading the post afterwards. Everyone was still making fun of you for playing Mario in 3.5. So I don't think you're nerfed far enough yet until you can't do
Yeah.
anything with the character at all.
Yeah, let's buff Snake.
Nobody likes to give credit to like people that aren't Sethlon or Professor Pro.
Yo, one thing,
so
Messi,
true.
is you've got my Twitter tag as Eli_Godlike.
And you know what it is? I like that guy so much that I figured more followers the better.
They're basically the same person, right?
All right,
I
I'll
mean-
get that changed right now.
He's like half the ness I am, but we'll take it.
Oh,
Oh my
Wow, the shots.
Shots.
Also, you're missing an E in my name.
Oh,
If we-
jeez.
okay.
Jeez
So many
Louise.
problems.
No, we're good,
So
we're
many
good.
problems. What a rough start.
No. Let's continue.
So, what about you? What about your area, NZA? Or should I say Eli, your area?
So everybody. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna play like Eli. So we've got two big major tournament series that have happened recently. So we had our weekly Smashing Grounds, which had about 40 people this last Thursday, and Poob ended up taking. No, excuse me. Sora ended up taking the whole thing. He faced Poob in grand finals. We're actually watching that video below. And then that Saturday, when snow started hitting, we had a tournament over in Connecticut. And so, a lot of people probably don't have exposure to the Connecticut scene, but they're really interesting. There are a lot of good players there. Joe ST especially is very good, and he comes to Smashing Around sometimes. And over there, Massachusetts ended up taking 4 of the top 6 spots, and it was again in Poob Sora Grand Finals, and this time Poob won it. And that's kind of been like the name of the game for the last few 3 to 4 Smashing Rounds weeks. Is I think Poob and Sora are starting to lead the pack at Smashing Rounds and get a little bit ahead of the rest of the Sinister Six, which is like the top 6 players that tend to exchange games together at the top.
All right. And what about you, June? Anything eventful?
Well, MDVA been having plenty of PM weeklies recently. Not so many monthlies or big tournaments. Just your Xanadu's and a few locals here in Charlottesville. I believe Boss has won the last few Xanadu's, and I actually won the few in Charlottesville, except once when I lost to Red. Melee Fox player, really good, obviously, because he's good at Melee, and Melee Fox is relatively unchanged. But he still managed to, beat me in a matchup that's not really familiar to Melee players, Diddy Kong. So props to him. And yeah, we've just been having a lot of weeklies recently.
Wait, Arjun, who won?
Red, Red.
Oh,
He's a
nice.
VGBC Red. He's a sponsored player. Plays Melee Fox,
He's
pretty
a blonde
much.
dude, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He's beaten me in tournament too.
You know you've made it when
I
you're
know the pain.
described by your hair color. Like that blonde guy is just he slaughters.
I
Um,
watched a video of him recently, I think.
so
But
it seems like really quickly everyone wanted to jump straight into topics rather than what's going on in recent news in terms of like the locals and stuff. Um, NZA, you wanted to bring something up right off the bat, like you were just like, hey, can I just say something? And your floor is yours, man. Take it.
Yeah, do you think we should get into that now, or do you want
I,
to do more soft combo and then jump in it?
we could get into it, and then we can go over the upcoming events, and you guys can talk about all the cool stuff that's going on in your region.
Okay,
And,
sure,
yeah.
sure. So I'm gonna take the pulpit for a minute because I wrote up a thing. But so I mean, everybody knows what's been happening with the community at large. A few months ago, Apex announces their game lineup, and they revealed that PM will not be in a lineup, and that's really old news. And by all intents and purposes, we shouldn't be talking about it anymore. But every week, it seems each PM member feels the need to basically reenact Mel Gibson's Apocalypto, and like it's so ridiculous. And I get it. Like what happened to us has never happened before. No Smash community has ever had to suffer for reasons that have nothing to do with their popularity. But I want to bring a different perspective to the table on what the community can do because there's been a lot of back and forth. Like Messi, I think you interviewed Reno over at and he works at Apex and like correct me if I make any wrong statements because you were the one who interviewed him, but I think he essentially said the PM community needs to mature and fight for its own destiny rather than piggy banking on the success of others, and that the community is a bit too satisfied with like settling for weeklies.
The first part was completely Reno. The settling stuff was probably me.
Okay. So
I'll take
I
the
think
heat
he
right now.
started it and then you agreed, but maybe I'm wrong. But like the community response to that whole thing, and I'm a little complicit in that, is people were basically saying like, "What is this guy talking about? Like, we're not settling for weeklies. Our player base isn't the problem. We just need more TOs to come out. We have such a lack of TOs, and that's the issue." And like from my observation as somebody who TO'd Guts 3 and who has a bit of experience doing that from the last year, it's more complicated than that. PM players as a community have a notoriously short memory. And me and Junebug were talking about this. Like, as far as players go, people only have the patience to remember basically everyone who did well at Apex 2014. Like, if you think about who the top 32 is of Apex 2014, those are still the only people anyone feels like talking about or have any kind of clout or weight in the community, aside from a few individuals who performed insane feats, like Professor Pro taking out Armada's Pit, or Emu Killer taking out in one weekend Professor Pro, like Armada, Mewtwo King, everybody. The only other players that seem to get recognition are those who are affiliated with already credible players and scenes. So, like, as Junebug knows, all the lovable people at Xanadu, like, they all get a little bit of attention, a lot of bit of credibility, like Boss and Seagull Joe and everybody. But if you look around, like, I sincerely believe in the bottom of my heart that there are good players playing everywhere. There are good players playing in every region. There's somebody in every region who's a threat, and you just don't know about. And the same is true for streaming solutions. Like PM inherited VGBC, and everyone went bonkers. And regularly, they would get 4,000 views on a Tuesday. And TK and EE went on to define what fitting commentary meant for PM. And TK was even the self-pronounced voice of PM. But the truth is, like, there have been good players everywhere that were providing entertaining content from Texas to Boston, New York to Arizona. There have been good commentators harnessing their craft for tiny audiences at Hitbox Arena and Smashing Grounds and elsewhere. And Xanadu may have stopped being the host, may have stopped being hosted by VGBC, but those 4,000 viewers never did migrate, to Smashing Grounds or to Tourney Locator or anywhere else. They just up and disappeared. Like from 4,000 people, T-Lock is now getting like 300 people, and Smashing Runs is sitting at like 50 to 100 every week. So like you have a net 2,500 people or 2,700 people that just stopped watching PM every week, which kind of brings me to my point. Yeah, the issue facing the community is a lack of TOs. But TOs need to get money and they need to get authority to create nationals where they can prove that they have a community backing them. And if all the community consider at one time are the names that kicked off 2014, then how is any newer player or community going to establish the credibility to start anything new? So I guess I'm making a personal plea to like the players of PM and the people who are listening to take a direct interest in the community and take some risks. Check out other content producers and players that you don't recognize and judge them for their content of play rather than, you know, their brand or who they know or who they're related to that you know. The player base of PM hasn't really changed all that much. Like, it's only been growing, but the optimism and the ability for new leaders to rise has severely been suffocated. And you can't just wait for someone to pronounce themselves as the new voice of PM to come and fix all your problems and just sit on your hands. You have to do what you can to foster the environments that are going to allow a voice to rise from, you know, the orchards that you plant and the streams that you and the communities that you choose to support and grow yourselves. So I guess that's kind of where I'm going to stop lecturing, and I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Anyone want to jump in first?
I definitely agree, and I think it's important for people to realize, like, to add to what you were saying, like, different people and different streams, just because, you know, they're different doesn't mean that they're bad. Like, you should watch different things.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason, like, I guess, like, I got to know Gal a little bit better other than just, like, hitting him up and asking for some help getting better at the game was, like, he was always constantly saying, like, your stream looks really good. And that's because he actually took the time and looked at it. And the reason I bring that up is just because you don't necessarily have to be, like, an amazing player to have a quality stream. You don't have to be an amazing player to be a TO. If anything, like, a lot of the TOs out there they're good players. They know about the game, but they don't have to be this top tier, like, you know, powerhouse player that wins in every week. And I think that a lot of people are afraid to kind of step up to that plate and give it a good shot. And I think that's the reason, because they feel like, well, I'm not this top tier player, so I can't put a footprint into the scene or into the community because no one's going to respect what I have to say, and that needs to stop, and that needs to stop, like, from the grassroots level. If you're part of a local and you're turning away people because they're not good, or you're just shitting on them because they don't have you know, their tech skill all the way down or their mind games down, you're killing the community from the
you're part of the problem.
I think sometimes that it's like they just want a familiar face or something, and they're like so used to, you know, watching Xanadu on VG Bootcamp all the time, and they don't want to, like, go out and find something new, or they feel uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to claim that TK isn't, like, my favorite Smash commentator, Melee or PM, bar none. Like, you can't replace him. But you also can't get somebody of his caliber if you're unsupportive. You know, everyone started somewhere.
I think the scene tends to stray towards these big streamers, you know, VGBC, Clash tournaments, and the players or the tournaments that happen to be streamed by them tend to get the most support. But there's plenty of PM content out there. We got Tourney Locator, we have Smashing Grounds, we have Free Saltines. There's just so much content that most people aren't aware of because they're only checking out the mainstream, and I think that's a real problem, you know. And being in a region like MDVA, I'm fortunate that you know, VGBC has this sort of reach, but I can kind of see the problems that it has in other communities and other areas.
You got that VGBC privilege, homie.
Yeah, overexposure. Like, even our small players, like, shout outs to, like, Jew Chains and Swag Apocalypse may not be the best players. May not be the best players, but they get that exposure. They get that, see those 3,000 people every week.
Shout outs to Fortune.
And shout outs to Fortune. Like, that wouldn't have been a big deal if it was on any other stream.
He's my hero.
Most other streams, I guess. But
like, think about Flex Zone, right? Like, think about Flex Zone. Think about the results of Flex Zone.
Yeah.
Imagine
ally.
it.
Wow.
Imagine it. So, Gallo, you said that DVD had like an incredibly close set with Prof Pro, right?
Oh yeah, and it was for like 13th place, and it was 2-1 down to the wire. So Professor Pro came really close to getting 13th at a New York like local regional type thing.
Imagine if Poop doesn't have that glitch happen to him in that match against Professor Pro, and he's up 2-1 on Prof Pro.
He had a lot of close calls for sure.
Yeah.
And Poop played really good.
And like, imagine if
so many
that
people
set
did
looks
get to
different.
watch it.
But here's like my follow-up to that. Imagine if Grand Finals is Ally versus Stereo Kid, or Ally versus DVD, or Ally versus Poop. How does the PM react to that? Because I know that people were pretty cold about Flex Zone and talking about it in general. But like, if that was, but at the very least, people were willing to put up a Grand Finals with Professor Pro and Ally. If that's Ally and DVD, or Ally and Stereo Kid, or Ally and Poop, I have a feeling that I don't know what people do. I don't know if people even put that up or talk about it. I mean, no one's talking about Emu Killer being 25th. Would anyone have talked about Professor Pro ending up at 13th? Like, you know?
Main issue is when I don't know, these new players get exposure or beat established players. A lot of the community, for some reason, likes to, I don't know, toss it aside and say it's a fluke or something.
Well, you just tossed aside your own victory against Prof Pro.
No, well, the community did too, sort of, a little bit.
You deserve that win. I mean, you did it with a nerfed Mario.
You JV3'd him.
Actually.
Wow. What's up? You JV4'd him.
Wow.
That's like a number higher.
You 3-0'd him.
Like, I don't know. I guess I even fell into the trap of seeing a bunch of people say, "Oh, Snake is bad now. Mario's over OP. Like the matchup is awful."
There's I don't know if you guys ever watch any sports or anything, but there's a radio host that had a very similar thing to what you're saying, where the players that we're used to seeing so well get this grace, get this pass when they perform very badly, and the players that do really well and kind of out of nowhere, and people are like, who's that person? They're considered an anomaly. They're not considered, like, you don't want to give him the credit because you're like, oh, he'll be back down where he belongs next week. And I think that's when you fall asleep on those players. Number one, you're not giving them the credit that they deserve. But they'll eventually come back to haunt you, and I'm sure Stereo Kid is loving the fact that maybe people are still sleeping on him, and he'll probably take advantage of the next major tournament. So it is a frustrating thing because it's a kind of a lose-lose. The person who deserves the credit doesn't get it, and the person who's been performing poorly for maybe a week or two, maybe 3 in a row, is getting these passes just because they built a name a year ago, a patch ago, whatever it was.
Yeah, I think that's a problem in every Smash community. The established players kind of have this fan base that's very intent to John for them when they lose. Like, we see it very notably with players like Mango, but even players like Professor Pro or like Emu Killer, when they lose, the people will say, "Oh, they're not playing their best. They could have played better." But in reality, those players just lose. Everybody loses. They get outplayed, and you have to kind of consider that these new players that are beating them, they are also very good.
Oh, sometimes and this is something what happened. Like after Mango had lost in the melee bracket over at Beast 5, the immediate reaction was Mango's no longer good. Like the immediate, oh my god, how can he finish third? How can he finish third? And I talked about it with Reno on here, and I was like, Reno, I want you to win because I love you and you're my best bud, but I hope, I think Mango's gonna win because now he has something to prove, which is insane to think about. That Mango has to prove anything, but that's kind of like the vacuum that we live in, where everyone cares about the last weekly, the last major, the last regional, whatever it may be. It's insane that it's that small of a window.
But that's the issue, right? They only think the last major only matters if someone they root for or someone they know wins.
Yeah, they'll turn it off. Oh,
and there's this like the tiniest list, like my man Ripple, right? Like, I don't necessarily love the way Ripple expresses himself online. But I remember, like, half a year ago when he was saying, "Why is everyone talking about Fly Amanita? I'm the best GDD. No one's talking about me." And, my response to that was like, chill, Ripple, your time will come. But I can understand that frustration, right? And Ripple would eventually win Big House 4, but his wins weren't, get top 8 in Big House 4.
Well,
but his
I was about to say,
yeah, my
dang.
bad. My bad. With DDD, yeah. But, he was only legitimized, basically, when he had gotten that far at a national, meaning when he had beaten players that people recognized. And that's important. But, to kind of bring this full circle back to what Reno was talking about, you know, I don't know if the PM community is necessarily is satisfied with locals, but I think what the PM community understands is locals is where the game started, locals is where the game will keep being played, and nationals are something that happen as proof that the local scenes are connected and working together.
One of the first things Prague had told me when I hit him up on Twitter, and I didn't even know the dude from a hole in the wall, and he's like, "Hey, I like what you're doing because you're focused on the middle. You're focused on the journey getting there." And then one thing I'll tell the people that are gonna listen to this, you know, is if you pop into a stream and you're watching a player and he might not necessarily be someone you know, um, don't be so quickly to just kind of exit out because, like you mentioned before, Xanadu when they did Smash at Xanadu VG Bootcamp broke like 6,000 viewers, and then all of a sudden no one wants to watch anymore, and that's a problem consistently though, not just for tournament scenes. Like if there are 6 streamers on there, they'll maybe have at the most 15, 20 viewers.
Yeah, it's
if
ridiculous.
That. And the thing is, you might be passing up the opportunity of seeing the next great player before anyone knew who he was, and just because you're just so, there's a very small like view of like I need to know what's going on in the first 5 minutes. You're passing up an opportunity as a player and as a spectator of the sport, because it is a great spectator sport, of seeing like the next big thing, and you're just gonna pass up just because you don't want to see it.
And biases aside, that's why Flex Zone is one of the most important tournaments that no one's talking about. Like,
Yeah.
Stereo Kid and Poob proved basically that there is a ton of talent out there that nobody's thinking about and no one's considering. And 3.5 is making it easier for them to rise to the surface because of their raw potential and skill, and because they don't have to face like Diddy bullshit and Mewtwo's blue balls and like fucking
Diddy bullshit.
Yeah, Poop did this with DK, guys. If you think DK is good, play the game. Please.
DK slightly better than Melee DK, which is not that
which
good.
is not that great, yeah.
Point is, the game's balanced. DK is definitely balanced. Like, he's not good or anything.
And
he's not like a top tier character by any
So
measure.
Poob is clearly really good as a player if he got 4th at a tournament like that.
It's always so funny when you see a great player like that. The first thing you hear people say is, "Man, I can only imagine if he played like this."
Oh my god!
This
Can we just
other
look at this
character."
combo? What is
I know.
that?
Whoa, the pillars.
The thing you always hear when someone plays like a lower tier character or like a mid tier character is like, "Man, if this player had a fox in their hands or a falco in their hands, or enjoy it for what it is. It's awesome to see DK like."
And also sometimes like a character just speaks to a player. Like, I'm not gonna be able to play Fox as good as I play Mario. I just play Mario, naturally.
I mean, he's Italian. You're Italian.
Exactly. I am Mario in real life. Have you seen me?
I think you have broader shoulders than Mario.
True.
Yes.
Truth.
Poor Mario.
But I'm really glad you brought up that topic, because something that I mentioned when you were talking about it pre-show, it was just like every other post had become like a very, and Nox has said this, and Nox is really funny if you've ever met him. He was just like, PM community is like the most self-hating community he's ever seen, and it doesn't need to be that at all. It's okay. Like, Apex will come, Apex will go. We'll figure it out. Like, don't get like all, tear jerked about it, because there's, you mentioned it before, there's a local community that you're a part of that probably has this amazing player that no one knows about, and maybe that's how you can start building and building and building until the community will grow in your area, and then you start getting regionals, start getting nationals, and that's how it happens.
And grow everyone's community, because that's where all the next leaders who are going to make VG Bootcamp is not going to be running a national, right? Like,
no.
I guess that's my point. Like, the people that you want, who we inherited from Melee, who have put in all that time into the infrastructure there, they're committed to Melee. Melee's on the rise. So put your time into people who have love for PM, and do that enough times, do it well enough, and they'll be able to do it well for you back. And I guess that's what I'm really comes down to. Like, vote with your, like, let's say you're talking about the subreddit, right? Like, I took issue with the fact that on the subreddit, things that I consider to be sort of like not that interesting are getting massive upvotes. Like, a 3.02 video of a Luigi player, I forget his name, basically nared somebody and killed them in the middle of a string, and then taunted and took a picture behind his back, and he's
Oh
pointing
wait,
his finger like
I saw that. It was
it's a dick.
Sago versus
Yeah,
somebody.
Sago. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's funny, right? Like it's funny, and comedy is something everybody can upvote and laugh about. My issue isn't with that video getting a bunch of upvotes. My issue is with that video getting 200 upvotes and anything that matters getting like 20 or 25.
Yeah,
Like
I'm lucky if we get that.
if the community is going to be like just so focused on comedy and like Ganon sword taunt kills and like just like and doesn't want to talk about the tournaments that are happening and doesn't want to talk about the great matches that have been happening or like great combo videos and super great players that are getting exposure, then I don't really see how the community can really sustain itself. Like that's why I don't think the community needs a bunch of TOs. It needs like a community really invested and active in all of the groups that are already putting in time in. And then efforts like the salt mines, like what we're doing here, where we're bridging all of these local communities together and creating some infrastructure like on the ground.
If you want to check out those Flex Zone vids, I believe a bunch of them are uploaded on YouTube. Tom Zhang, I think, was the one who
Right.
uploaded them. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's so many good matches. Ally versus Professor Pro, Pooh versus Professor Pro. I saw a few more good ones on there.
Stereo Kid did awesome stuff.
Yes, shout outs to Stereo Kid beating one of MDVA's best players in Seagull Joe.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure he was salty about that. But
Classic.
It's-
Classic Seagull.
Yeah, and it's just it's so
Classics.
funny you bring that up because like the entire time we were like working on episode 3 of Salt Mines, everything we wanted to post was always like, hey, can we get Frozen to post this? Can we get Frozen to post this? Because Frozen has the M icon
And
on
that's
his Reddit,
yeah.
and that's like it makes people moist, you know, in terms of using the first word that comes to mind. But like people get so hyped, like, oh my god, he posted something, and lo and behold, he has like this episode's I guess like hype thread has like 50 upvotes and no downvotes, but any other thing related to this will get like 10. So it's
Yeah.
funny how that works out, but it's perception. It's what
It's
people
kind of
perceive
also
it.
part of the issue, like the role that the PM DT is playing, kind of, because like
Mhm.
they have insane capital, right? Like they just have popular capital.
They're just like the drug dealers just walking around.
You know what I mean? Like they got reputation. Like if you want to talk about and like they have charisma points or reputation points or whatever language I need to speak, you know, to get it across. And it's like when 3 separate threads on the front page is one Tinker putting up like a shitpost thread, Saj putting up a shitpost thread like making fun of Tinker, and then a third person making a meta post saying that like Tinker's shit posts shouldn't be stickied, and then a fourth post making a meta post saying like we should have Tinker's posts stickied. Like those 4 topics are taking up some massive real estate on the front page of this SSBPM page, and they make people come or go to those communities more and more. And like I know it's not an overnight process. I know nobody's like at fault here, but I'm just saying like, you know, this isn't like a fucked up and somebody needs to be held accountable. It's more like, you know, people need to upvote what they want the community to be. Like
And just support in general. Just go out there.
support.
Like
Yeah,
if you're gonna complain about the community, you've never been to a local, or you're gonna complain and like you don't at least know some people and play and at least want to grow the community, there's nothing to complain about. There's nothing you're doing to help. And you know, for the longest time, I couldn't go to Nebs because of my job, but I found other ways. Like I would stream this game and I would tell friends about it, and I'd get people over to play. And then Nox started going to Nebs every week, and he'd be like my highlight man. He's like, oh, this happened and then this happened. I mean, that's how I found out about everything when I couldn't go because of work. So and I'm excited because starting next week I'm going to be going to Nebs every week, so he's good to
Sick.
hype this stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna tag Dark Blues in so you could put some input on things.
oh, here we go. Tag team.
yeah, I think one of the problems with the subreddit right now is it's not tourney focused enough. You know, the PM
What's up, guys?
community.
Hey, bud.
What's up with me?
Those
Junebug's about to
headphones
rant,
suck.
so just give him a sec.
Okay, yeah. So, NZA was talking about the subreddit, and I've seen just like the NZA.
The NZA, like
The
oh,
NZA. Alright.
never mind.
Sorry,
It's
sorry.
okay.
Okay,
Sorry. Sometimes
continue.
just right over it. Go ahead.
Okay, so Yeah, the subreddit's kind of focused on, those random things and not really things that are important to the individual scenes. And a lot of those individual scenes, unless they're Tourney Locator or Xanadu, they don't get that much exposure. So using that subreddit as a medium for exposing these scenes would be very beneficial to the community
Yeah,
because we don't have any big exposure right now. And I think that's one of the problems.
agreed.
It's a very casual. It's not. I mean, it's just in general. I think PM is very casually talked about for being a competitive game, which is a very odd. Like you wouldn't really think about that, but the game is made for competition. The game is made to be more competitive, and yet sometimes you just feel like there's a lot of casual stuff kind of thrown at your face. Like more, there's more talks about like, can we get this character in here? Can we get this costume? This thing where it's just like, I don't know.
But
Yeah, people-
honestly, Messi, that's why the subreddit's so good because it reaches all those people. Like,
No, I agree.
yeah, like the Smashboards is like everybody has a ruler and everybody's pants are unzipped. Like, it's really hard, I think, in Smashboards in a way
Are we
to.
still talking about Smashboards? Because you get the rulers and. All right, so okay, continue. I'm sorry, bad joke.
Wow. Wow.
God damn. All right, so yeah, so I mean, Smashboards is kind of like it's not it doesn't get you the access to the majority of the viewership, right? Like the 3,000 people who showed up or 6,000 people who watched Xanadu aren't necessarily the Smashboards people. I mean, it is them, but they'll always find what's hype. Like if 1,000 people, if 400 people rush somewhere, like the Xanadu people will, I mean, the Smashboards people will follow to see what's up. But like I feel like the subreddit is one of the best ways to sort of build an audience around something.
Okay, so here's just an open question for you guys to answer. If there is the one thing you can like implement, if you were like the governor of PM Land, and there was one thing you can do, like that's the first thing you're gonna focus on, what are you doing?
That's a good question.
I would try to get a regular stream going in which I played matches, and then kind of analyzed matches from other communities and highlighted like the videos from all these communities or like something of that extent, like making sure that all this content is out there because right now we have these closed-minded like viewers, people that
Yeah.
will only watch Xanadu or that only watch Tourney Locator, and we need to kind of unite everybody, get them watching all this content.
Yeah, definitely. There are some regions that just don't have any exposure whatsoever. Like, for example, like Midwest, or I'm part of the Smash group in like Mississippi and like Alabama and things like that. And they have really good players, but their stream gets like 10 viewers. But there are some really good players out there, like Reflex Wonder, which I
Yeah.
haven't seen played in a while. And
I want to see him. He's
yeah,
so cool.
I think Pika is also there. I'm not.
He's good.
Yeah, he's really good, and he attended some of the tournaments over there, but they don't get enough exposure that they just don't even bother hosting tournaments because like every week or at least a bi-weekly, they have like a bi-monthly or something, and it's just really sad that to see a region like that with so many good players just have little to no exposure.
Yeah, I think it's a fundamental part of why Smashing Grounds is so exciting to like bring 40 or 50 people out every single week. And why like back in July last year we were averaging over 100 people every week. Like when you have a stream, when you have this promise of your videos being out there, when you have combo videos coming out, then suddenly that's the place to be. Like that's where you want to go. And I don't know, like it's hard to sustain that if people don't support that effort, like to justify
I
it.
don't think people realize like how big a deal. Like we keep talking about streaming and stuff like that, but I don't think people realize how big a deal it is to certain channels. Like I'm a streamer. That's like the foremost kind of thing. Like I happened to fall into PM and loved it from day one, and then I met great people like Gallo, like Dark, like Frozen, along the way, and it definitely helped the transition into like, yo, I kind of want to make this my game. This is what I want to stream. I want people to kind of know me for being a PM streamer, and what people don't realize is, do you understand like how great it would be if a tournament like just a weekly like Nebulous would have a partnership on Twitch, and all of a sudden you have sub money to throw at a pop bonus, and now you have players like Gallo who aren't beating this ridiculous talent like Professor Pro and getting $60 for it, where that pop bonus could have been through sub money, or donations could have been toward pop bonuses to help improve the scene. Like for the longest time at Nebulous, it was like super cramped, and there was nowhere for anyone to be, and the internet was choppy, and all this other stuff where you could have thrown it to improving the stream in general. Like that helps your local area. If you go to, like someone brought up Windy City Smash, and their stream looks phenomenal, but no one watches it. Well,
Yeah.
if you're all of a sudden people start watching it, and you start throwing numbers out there, maybe 200 viewers, 300 viewers, and they can apply for partnership and say, look, this is a consistent flow, we'll bring you people, Twitch, and Twitch says, here's your sub button. Well, now you have players there that are going to get benefits that you never thought was possible, and you're basically paying it forward.
Or just
Yeah.
the power of going on any place like Smashboards and seeing in the upper right corner, oh, 300 people are viewing something. It's probably pretty cool.
You bring a lot of new players in.
Yeah, the
You
snowball
bring,
effect.
Because you know, I don't just stream PM. I've done other games, and people will be like, "I saw you playing this other game the other day. What the hell is that?" Like, I played Smash Brothers, but I don't know what that is. That doesn't look like Smash Brothers I played. It's ain't your grandfather's Smash Brothers, but like you know, you expose a whole new, you know, demographic to it, and people are like, "Oh, you know what? That's pretty cool. I didn't know you could play this character. I didn't know this was a thing." And then people get more involved and they ask questions around it.
So Arjun, your goal, if you could wave a smash wand and make any PM related dream come true, like you would make it so there was like all of the video content came to one channel, basically.
No, just like maybe a site or something, because if you have one channel streaming all the content, then you risk the possibility of having another one of these big channels.
Yeah,
where
it's kind of like monopolizing.
yeah,
Do you guys ever watch StarCraft, Pro StarCraft?
I
Not
used to
much.
play a lot of StarCraft.
So there's like a website called SE2casts.
I've heard of it. I've heard
And
of
I've
it.
recently been using it a lot because it compiles all of the tournament footage for that week from every major tournament and minor tournament in one place, and like it's really well, like what's the word?
designed.
Yeah, well,
together?
I was gonna say
Well put together.
curated. It's very
Oh,
well curated.
Okay.
Good word.
Yeah, my bad.
That's a good word. I don't know. I'm you kidding me? I'm
points.
just happy I got to hear that word. I don't even care. I don't even care that it took you a while. I mean, that's something we had talked about too, just in the Facebook chat. We had discussed like how can we centralize this podcast better? How are we going to put up on iTunes? Are we going to get a website? Are we going to do this? Or are we going to do that? And it's great that you're throwing all these ideas out, because you know what? A lot of people that I would just say, hey, do you want to jump in for the week? They're not going to want to put crazy input into it, because they're like, I'm just going to do my 1 week, and then whatever happens to that show, whatever happens to this thing is gone, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore, and that's it. But people like you and even June was like, hey, let's try this, let's do that, let's do this, and trust me, those ideas have gone even through my mind. Like I when I originally started streaming and everything, I wanted to do a centralized hub for New York City based streamers, and now that I'm starting to become like, I'm starting to see how much I really do like the PM community, even if it's like a game that, you know, I stream only 2 or 3 days a week. I'm like, yo, I really want to put everything into it. And YouTube channel, we've kind of discussed like doing a centralized YouTube channel. Now the iTunes thing is coming along where you can, you know, listen on iTunes for this show. But you're right, it would be nice to have a one website where you could just view everything. And you don't have to kind of reach and go like, oh man, like earlier we were looking for one match on YouTube, and it was like, man, which one is it? Where can I find it? What's going on?
So that would be my challenge then to the people listening and who end up listening to this on MP3 and stuff. You know, like there's a lot of people who want to help but don't know how to help. There are a lot of people who think the way to help is to basically post about how the sky's falling, but don't worry, it's not really falling. We still have all of our players and like kumbaya and all that. And like that's all that's all good intentions, but if you really want to help, like somebody make that website. Like, you know, there are a lot of web programmers who are Smash fans. A lot of people who love PM end up having a knack for hacking, have a knack for like visual arts, and I've seen that in Smashing Grounds itself. Like a lot of people keep surprising me with their abilities there. I know somebody listening who wants a bigger PM community and has the time to do it could make something like that.
Just get a hold of me. I will do everything I can to help. Like,
I'll funnel Smashing Grounds. Like, we can give you all the playlists. You know, somebody already makes. There are some people like KB who put effort like that on Smashboards to sort of create an archive of different stuff. But, you know, something like this could totally exist. All you would need is to be subscribed to all the relevant playlists, and then to have a way, maybe even program an automated process to hyperlink those videos.
Yeah. All right.
I think that'd be a really good
There's
idea.
there are actually some. He does it for all general like Smash games. I think the account name is Event Matchup Gaming. If you guys have heard of it, that is Event Matchup Gaming. Yeah.
Yeah. Toronto Joe runs that.
That yeah okay. Yeah, and then there are some who like expose like some top 10 classic
Yeah.
like from like the old school like moments that just like oh, I should watch this what is it? What is it?
GR Smash.
GR Smash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
his videos.
Yeah, his videos, it just goes to show, it's like, oh, is this what this region's capable of? I should start watching it more. I actually started tuning into some West Coast streams because of like the top 10 Bizarro Flame moments, which is pretty awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, West Coast has some amazing tournaments, especially for Melee. Oh man.
All right. So speaking of tournaments, because I don't want us to run out of time, because I do want to open up to Q&A because I feel like we've definitely covered a ton of topics in a small amount of time. So, quick. What's happening? What's coming up? What is really important in your region? Obviously, you got Massachusetts. You have MDVA. Throw them out there. NZA, you could start.
Okay, so the big thing that we're having, and I'd really love people to support this because the more people who support things like this, the more likely it is that we can do a national down the line, just like we did for Guts 3, is that there is on February 15th, so that's Valentine's weekend, so bring your boo there. It's on Sunday. It's called the the Game Underground Video Game and Music Fest 2, and it features Project M amongst other games with a $100 pot bonus. It's not much, but I think that, if we pull enough entrants, it'll be a really big pot. I'd love to see some in New York come out there. Hell, I'd love to see MDVA come out there, like if you really have like love for the game, and I know y'all do, like treat it just like they did Melee back in the day where they would fly across the coast to play it, because we're in those types of times right now where we can really make a difference like that. The tournament is pre-reg only, and I will be putting up posts on it at Reddit for you all to look up. The big thing about it is there's a shit ton of music and free vodka samples and like free drinks and stuff.
Hey, we in there.
We got Mega Ran performing, which is going to be fun.
Cool.
And a comedian as well. And it's over in Boston. I'll put up the link. So yeah, you guys should definitely pre-reg for that.
That's more of like a full social event than a Smash tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
we
everything.
gotta get some more of that going on.
Having
in
a
the
good
community.
time.
Yeah.
What about you, Junebug? Anything big?
Nothing too big in MDVA, just the regular weekly schedule coming up. I tweet about them regularly, so you don't have to worry about those. But there is a tournament coming up, a regional or national that I'm going to in Pennsylvania. Shots Fired, hosted by Eastern Smash.
Yeah.
Should be a fun tournament. New York, New Jersey's going. I think Emu Killer, all Free Saltines, a bunch of MDVA's going, and there's a $1,000 pot bonus for PM. So it should be huge. And also, we have an MDVA versus New York, New Jersey crew battle going on. So that's going to be really fun.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Should be hype, too.
Guys,
We're going to get loud.
If
We're gonna get
$1,000
loud.
pot bonus isn't enough for you to kind of want to go and see how the hype is, like I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'll never win that pot bonus. I'm not gonna." But you have to understand, people are gonna go in really, really hard for that grand. So make sure you get out there. And Dark, we got Nebulous, the revival of Nebulous on the 8th.
Revival of Nebulous. So I guess I'll call it that for that day. February 8th, I believe, is when Nebulous is officially open, and we don't call it Nebulous anymore. We call it Neo Nebulous because it's a huge space. It's almost, you can basically host a regional there. You have an upstairs and a downstairs, both of which you can use at any time. But I think the main base of operation is where Nebulous resides is downstairs, which is not bad either because it's pretty big, and we don't have to carry CRTs upstairs and downstairs when we pack up.
Yeah, so Nebulous is coming back. I think they were doing Melee there, holding like 100 people without a problem on the beta test, and then we had a couple PM and Smash 4 events there too. So there's plenty of room. It's easy to find. It's in the middle of Chinatown. Like you could take pretty much like major transit there, not a problem. I think that's why I also have like a respect for like MDVA and over there in Mass, because you guys don't really have like the same transportation we
Yeah,
have
we
here,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is like the same reason why I completely hate New York City smashers that are lazy. Please, you have everything given to you. It costs $2.50, and if you wait too long, it's going to cost you $2.75. But still, you can get out there and go to your locals and support
Yeah.
them. Like it.
Can I?
It is worth clarifying just quickly that the Boston event is all ages, even though there will be free drinks there. So I don't know
Nice.
how that's
Baller.
working.
And I think there's
Yay.
a bar at Shots Fired too.
So what you
And
gotta do is just
yeah.
pretend you're taking like your little brother out for like a good time, and you get boozed up and you play some Smash. All right, like.
Nobody trying to get in trouble right now, man.
So, and you said Shots Fired supposed to have a bar too.
Yeah, that's what Amari said at least.
I think
February 28th. Yeah, it's in a hotel, and I think the hotel has a bar.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I think introducing alcohol to the Smash scene might be the way we need to make our name. But no,
Oh, you know that's about to thank the crew battle hype.
oh, jeez. But no,
We got all the liquor.
it's great. It's great that we have a lot of events coming up, and they're really unique. Like, I mean, Shots Fired is gonna be huge, and then that I think that's the first time the one in Boston that I've ever heard of like all those different things, and it's like everything and a Smash tournament. So that's gonna be awesome.
gonna be so
especially if you're new to that area. From what I understand, Boston, Mass is like one of the most gorgeous places to ever go. So definitely
Yeah,
make
man.
the
I
trip
mean-
out there, visit, spend the weekend.
All the people from the combo video that you guys have all hopefully seen by now will be there. So you're gonna have some tight competition.
And I think for right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up to Q&A for about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna call it. And I once again, before the questions start coming in, like I really appreciate you guys coming out here tonight, because it's been really insightful conversations. And I said before the show started that it was either gonna be the best show we've had so far or the worst. So far, it's trending it positively. So let's see. There was a question.
I mean, you got rid of Gallo, so it got good.
There's nowhere to go but up after that.
Yo, I got love for Gallo. I'm just
So
kidding.
Ocarina Mario actually asked, "What's the best way to go to a local if nothing, Smash freaking happens next to you or near you?"
Oh,
So, oh, go ahead.
I actually don't know how to answer that. So you go ahead.
I mean, there are in the Mississippi Smash League, there are only like 35 people in that group, and they all. I mean, I remember one time I went to their venue just to check out. You know, they said, "Hey, we're having a Smash Fest here," and you know, my dad lives in Jackson, Mississippi, and they were like somewhere around the coast. So we did like a 3-hour drive all the way down there just so I could check out that venue. I mean, even though it was pretty small, some people just bust their asses to get into a a local tournament. Like Frozen comes from Staten Island. That's tough because you have to take a ferry, or you have to take a really expensive bus just to get down there. And like every time he leaves from Nebulous, when we leave around like 11, we get like food, and then he gets home at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
I think the only thing I can say about that is something I tell everyone that comes into my stream, and that question comes up more than any other question besides like, well, who should I main? Is if you feel, and if this is honestly like you have nowhere to get to a Smash tournament, the best thing for you to do is to make your own community. And what eventually ends up happening is you'll start getting crossover players and players that will go to a local and then also come to whatever you're organizing and come by to play. And the great thing about that is eventually those two communities kind of merge together, and that's how you start growing.
Yeah, so I think I have some stuff to maybe add on this because I started Smashing Grounds in like February, but I've been playing PM for way earlier than that. So I think one thing is redefine your own concept of what far means, like, or what close means. Is close half an hour from you? Well, maybe there is a PM scene an hour and a half from you. Maybe that's worth like redefining some ideas in your life about maybe you got to do your homework earlier and find somebody to carpool with to go there, you know what I mean? Or like take a risk and drive out there once and see what's going on. Beyond that, what Messi said is true. Like what I ended up doing was I carried my CRT to a bunch of, and my Wii to a bunch of Melee events because there isn't a PM scene near you. There might be a Melee scene near you or a Brawl scene. And I just set it up and I played friendlies with people. And, you know, like I did that enough times and people liked it enough and I kept my ear close to the ground. And next thing I knew, like some other place was trying to start a Melee some other venue, which is Game Underground, was trying to start another Melee weekly. And I just kind of jumped in there and said, hey, if you give me a chance to PM, I won't fail you. Like, I'll make it really big. And that's what I think. And I think it was because I went to all of those like Melee events that people were like, okay, wow, like PM is a pretty cool game. I'll go check this out. So I'd say, redefine what your idea of close is and see if there's a scene out of the purview of what you imagined was close to you. And if there still isn't a scene, just bring your own setup and play friendlies with people. That's what a scene is. Make enough friends and then keep your ear close to the ground and be willing to do that groundwork to create something and set something up.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Let me see what else we got in chat. Sora's calling out Frozen for a money match.
Oh,
Classic.
So Sora said he was coming over to Xanadu in December, and then he never did it. I was mad.
Classic.
Wait. Oh shit. Ocarina Mara, you're not the only Canadian in the stream. I don't think. If Maximus is here, he's also Canadian. You guys can join forces and build the Canadian scene up together. Let me see. Trying to filter because people were asking questions earlier. I think that one of them was a DK matchup question.
I might know something to add to that.
DK.
Let's see. Guys, if you want your questions, also another really easy way to get your questions answered and whatnot is to hit me up like on Twitch inbox or even like just message me directly on Twitter, like just tag me in something, and that way I'll have like a couple of questions that are ready to go from the beginning, and it doesn't get lost in people making Kappa faces.
Kappa.
Yeah, and you can ask me anything on Twitter if you want to know specifics about MTVA, and I'm sure everybody else is open on their Twitter.
A couple of people have told Niall to watch his mouth.
Yeah, I'm starting to be a little more active on my Twitter as well.
If you guys have anything,
at Gallo frequency.
Most of those people, I know.
Yeah, at Gallo,
by the way. I know most of those people.
Okay, cool.
So
Gallo's not even active on his. You're not even active on your Twitter.
Gallo's like barely active right now.
What?
Is Gallo asleep?
No, Gallo's playing Binding of Isaac.
Okay, Junebug. There's a person by the name of Bob Goldie. He's one of my followers. He wants to know if you'll sign his chest.
Is he gonna be at Apex?
Wait, is that something Junebug is paying you for, or you're paying Junebug for?
I don't know. That can go either way.
I feel like Junebug would want to do that.
I mean, I would prefer having money paid to me because I've never paid somebody to
while we wait
sign
for the
their
response,
chest.
Team Cyclone said, "What stages are good for DK in this matchup?" So DK versus Marth.
So DK really likes Battlefield a lot. I know Marth also likes Battlefield, but DK especially likes Battlefield because he can do a lot of cargo rolling and mix up his neutral that way. DK also really likes, or at least Poob really likes Yoshi's Island Brawl. I'm not sure why that is. Basically, you want situations where you can up throw DK punch from a lot of different heights and guarantee a kill at like 50 or 60%, and that should be your game plan. But in case you expend that move, you want to pick a stage where you can get to a high platform and up throw up air is going to kill at a mid to low percent. So you have another out. Because what you're going to be playing on is the idea that you're going to last longer than he is because you're a heavy and Marth can't kill unless he dares. And you're just going to recover really well and then set up conditions for you to get the combos you need after you chip in 50 or 60% or 70% to get that grab and that kill. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
All right, so I think it's kind of dead on the questions tonight, but I think that's because we probably here we go. Junebug, ever heard of this Fathom guy from your scene who wants to tank money match me?
No.
People are like asking you for financial like advice right now.
What does that mean?
There's a guy named
Fathom.
Toon Link. They wanted to, I guess Fathom.
I haven't heard of Fathom. Yeah, sorry.
Basically, Pounds is a friend of mine. He actually just asked, as a brand new baby PM player, how viable is Kirby as a character?
Everyone's viable right now.
Yeah, everybody's viable except for like ice climbers, but some people make them work.
it's a new meta right now. Go out and discover who's.
Hey, dude, somebody with
who's,
Ice
like-
Climbers at 3.02 got like what 25th or something at Big House 4.
Yeah, we actually have a New York
pretty
player.
Yeah.
We actually have a New York player that plays Ice Climbers. He's stuck on Smash 4. His name is Z. He plays like a really good villager, but he used to play like a really, really mean Ice Climbers.
The Shazlet asked, a few of the local players in my area have been taking DK to Lilac Cruise when it's available. Any thoughts on why?
Like a DK player is taking enemies there, or people are taking
They've
DK
been taking
there?
DK there.
It's to mess up his recovery, so he can't ride up against the wall. So it makes his
yeah.
recovery more
you wanna
predictable
say
and
I
something?
figured
easier.
as much, yeah. Good.
Smash Gods.
Yo, you just cut out.
You just cut out. You just
cut
cut out.
Oh, I muted my
Right.
mic. Sorry, guys.
Nice.
What a gentleman move right there.
Smash God is in the house right now. Let's put it on Smash God.
Hey,
Look
Hi,
at
Smash
him.
God.
Glows
dude?
like God.
Are you guys gonna be practicing? Is that what's happening right now?
I guess we'll probably practice Smash 4.
That's also
Right.
another really important thing for people that are like trying to like build and stuff. Find good players in your community, and don't be afraid to like invite them by or ask like,
yeah.
can we meet up somewhere? Because for the
Ask
most
them
part,
to live with you.
that's actually a great idea too.
I said ask them to live with you.
I played so much. I played so much with Korean DJ back in before Apex 2014, and Apex 2014 was like my first major tournament I went to.
Okay.
Like,
So it's like, just play with somebody who's gonna rock you.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask, because a lot of times those Smash players are also looking to get more time in, and they'll take it as it comes, because schedules are schedules.
Yeah. I was usually afraid to like ask top players, like ask Eli or ask like Gallo to like hang out. It was actually done. I started hanging out at Gallo because Narc, one of our crew members,
Yeah.
started hanging out with Gallo, and he's like, "Oh, I'll invite you one day," and I was like, "Yay!" Because I'm too shy to ask him. I feel like at one point, like I was around a community a lot where people like top players would like shun the like not good players or novice players. People are like starting to just get into like a game, and like I was always afraid to ask like a really good player to like hang out and we could practice a few somebody who can like really like train me.
Okay, so last question tonight, and then we're gonna go ahead and cut. Basically, this is from Loyal Streams, and he says, "I'm trying to get into PM, but as a guy who's lost basically 95% of my tech skill because his Wii's getting repaired, what should he practice first?"
Tech skill.
Shuffling.
Yeah,
All
I think
basic tech
it's
skill.
it's important to understand the fundamentals of the game. Like when not practicing tech skill, but when to use the tech skill. Like why you need to late aerial on
definitely.
shield, why you need to wave dash, why you need to like have good platform movement and neutral. And I think the tech skill will kind of come as a result of just understanding the game. It doesn't have to come immediately. I don't have that much tech skill, but it'll help.
I
in a
think
lot of
shuffling
scenarios.
is like really important. But any of you guys know who Two Frames is?
2 frames.
That's such a great
Somebody-
name.
somebody-
That's such a great name.
So like Two Frames is my cousin, and he plays a Falco that does not shine, and his name is
Wow.
Two Frames. His name is Two Frames because he only uses moves that are 2 frames and greater. He won't use anything that's 1 frame. And I swear to God, if more Falcos took his approach rather than trying to learn how to basically pillar, they would have a much stronger understanding of the game before they start pillaring. I mean, no one's going to disagree that shining is like incredibly fundamental to Falco, but learning how to space your nairs and like laser well and cross up and like mix up people's shield and be safe with your pressure is so much more important
Yeah.
than tech skill. But shuffling is like everyone needs to know how to shuffle.
Yeah.
All right, so
Every day I'm shuffling.
thank you so much to Junebug. Thank you so much to NZA for joining us. And Dark, thanks for sitting in for Gallo as he's just randomly playing
He's
Minecraft.
about to like fall asleep. He's playing Binding of Isaac.
I
He's up
really,
into well.
I really appreciate it. As I open up with the show, I'll let you guys know that you could now subscribe to us on iTunes. The link is straight there. So if you guys maybe gotten halfway through, or you just want to listen to it on the way to work or something, you have the iTunes link ahead. And I will also post on Reddit when I have the YouTube and the podcast both updated, so you'll be able to watch it over again if you missed anything. A lot of great conversations happened tonight. A lot, probably more in depth and deeper conversations than we normally have, which is actually really good because it needed to get out there. And special thanks again to NZA and Junebug for joining us tonight.
Messi, can we do plugs?
Yeah, plug.
Okay, so Smashing Grounds is every Thursday. We stream on twitch.tv/Game Underground, and like follow us, subscribe every Thursday 7 p.m. I know Tourney Locator's the same day. You know, like multi-Twitch, do something like that. It'll be fun. And the only other thing I want to plug is that we recently came out with 2 videos over the last 2 days. One is our combo video, our 3.5 combo video, and the other is like a Saltine Awards nomination video, which is just like the best of 2014 for Smashing Grounds, mostly pre 3.5 footage. If you want to watch either of those, go to reddit.com/r/SSBPM. I think we're on the front page there, or just look up Smashing Grounds and click on the channel, and you can find the videos there. They're both really fun, and they'll give you a good idea of, like maybe you don't watch streams of players you don't know because you don't feel like you know anyone. They'll give you a good idea of play styles and sort of like who people are and what they're about.
Okay, Junebug, any plugs? Plugs.
My channel is twitch.tv/ARJunebug. Hopefully I can start doing some Project M match analysis soon. I really enjoy doing that. Haven't gotten it started yet though, but be on the lookout. Every Monday in Charlottesville, I participate in this tournament called, it's just a Charlottesville Weekly. You can follow that at twitch.tv/Living Studios. And Xanadu is now streamed by UMD Smash. It's no longer streamed by VGBC. You can follow them at twitch.tv/UMD Smash.
And Dark, plugs.
Twitch.tv/FreeSaltines. Usually every night, if I possibly can, I'll stream Mega Man X8 speedrun or a Smash 4 Glory, or I'll play with some viewers on chat. I'll do some Smash ladder matches, and I'll just do some match analysis if viewer requests it.
All right. If you guys aren't following me yet, remember every time you follow me, you get a point per minute, and that's used for like raffle giveaways, things like that. I try to do a giveaway a month. Points get reset every month, so new followers have a chance. YouTube.com/MessyNYC live. That'll have the podcast up immediately afterwards. It takes like 25 to a half hour before it gets posted up there, and then I'll rip the audio and I'll throw it on iTunes. And the iTunes link was posted a little bit earlier. And we weren't joking, as NZA brought up and Junebug. If you guys want to do a centralized like website type idea and you need someone to help, maybe put more content on there like Salt Mines, like the weekly interviews that I try to do, which next week I'm still not sure who we're going to get on there, but we're going to work on it. Because I still got Vans somewhere in my phone book, and he's been willing. So, but thanks for everyone for coming through, and maybe actually Eli just joined chat, so maybe Eli will be the next interview. We'll talk about it. Thanks for making it great. Thanks for showing up, Junebug. Thanks, NZA, and Dark. Thanks for filling in for Gallo.
Thanks, Messi.
No
you
problem.
guys have a great night.
Shout outs to you, Messi. You do a lot of good work.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Gallo. Yeah, here.
Oh, Gallo's back.
He's selling shit, bro. I got him on for more variety. Fuck.
What a way to outro. Later, guys.
Yeah. Okay. Peace.
Peace.